what I believe is you got to be honest to yourself. You know, you might be able to give the world a different story, but you can't lie to yourself, right?
Welcome to Bottom Up, a podcast where we explore the lowest moments in people's lives and the incredible stories of how they overcame them. Each episode, we'll hear from guests who have been through some of life's toughest challenges and have come out on the other side. From overcoming addiction and mental health struggles to surviving abuse and overcoming personal loss, we'll hear how they found the strength to keep going and turn their lives around. These stories of resilience, determination, and hope will inspire you to never give up, even in your darkest moments. So join us as we delve into the depths of the human experience and learn how to rise up from the bottom. Today, for the fourth episode of Bottom Up, we have a DJ, a drummer or a percussionist, one of the members of 1974 AD, the legendary band of Nepal, and owner of a restaurant called Musicology, Sanjay Shrestha, or Sanjay Uncle. Welcome.
Thank you, Manav. Thanks for having me.
I mean, it's really great. I wanted to have you on for a long time. We've been going back and forth, and now we're finally here.
Happy to be here, bro. Thanks.
So, like I mentioned before, you're a drummer, a percussionist, a DJ, right? All these things related to music. But how did you get into music in the first place?
Uh, since I was really young, maybe about 10 years old, uh, my dad he used to be a very good singer, and he even recorded a song in Radio Nepal. And then I used to see him, tapping away on the table and just singing songs. And back then, nothing happened to me. But when I was about 10 or 11 years old, I went to my first ever rock concert in GA Hall. And then when I saw the guys playing on stage, I kind of thought like, that's what I want to do. And then I started learning how to play the guitar. And because I was raised a Catholic, the church was a big part of it. So there used to be a lot of music in the church. I used to take part in the choir and stuff. So slowly it just happened, and then, yeah.
So you were into music in general from a young age, right?
Yeah.
By the sound of things.
Yeah, I just loved music.
Would
You
you say would you say that your dad was a big inspiration or a big part of you going into music?
Uh, I, I'm not sure if I could say he was a big inspiration, but he did instill it to me into me, uh, because we'll get into this later. But because I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my dad. But yes, I did, saw him sing and play music since I was little. So I think that put some kind of idea into my head. Yeah.
Okay, but so like you said, right, your dad wasn't really, you didn't really spend much time with it, but I'm sure there were many other sacrifices you made to make it as a musician, because a musician is not a standard career, right? You wouldn't say it's like a doctor or an engineer where you go to school and you learn everything and then you just work, right? It's a bit different. So what kind of sacrifices did you have to make when you were an up and coming musician?
Quite a few. Like, a lot of my friends would be hanging out and, just growing up in generally as a teenager and partying and, going out with friends, chasing girls and stuff. I used to be practicing with my band, so I think that is one, for me, that was one big sacrifice, because instead of having lots of fun and being silly with my friends, I was actually practicing with the band. Things like that, as I was growing up. But again, like you said, Music is not considered a safe profession, not only in Nepal but even globally. So I had to take a lot of chances. But one thing I was kind of sure was I knew I had to be good if I wanted to be successful. So I worked really hard. I like you said, I sacrificed a lot of social things and fun things, and went and practiced with my band and other friends and learned music. So yeah.
And do you think any of the sacrifices you made, do you think you feel like you made the right choice, right? Because of the, like, where you are now, you're probably looking back and you're like, it was worth it. All the time I put in, it was.
Are you closer? Okay.
I feel like you were saying the time, you feel like it was worth it, right? You were.
Definitely, most definitely. I mean, when I started, I was not sure, but I loved music so much. I was so passionate about it. I, I couldn't think of anything else. So yeah, so every time I played music, I was just having fun. And as I grew older, I started realizing, oh, I need to be good. So but definitely the right choice. Yes.
And like you were saying, right, it's not a very safe profession. Like, you really have to go into it, and in the end there's no guarantee if you're gonna make it in the end, right? So
Hmm.
I'm sure there was like a lot of skepticism, or like a lot of like criticism, or just weariness when it came to like your family, right? Like your mom, your dad.
Hmm.
How, what did you face any obstacles, like almost telling them?
Manav, I was very lucky in that sense because I don't have a big family. So basically, it was just my mom and me. Okay. So my uncles and everyone, they were in the villages and stuff. So basically, it was my mom and me. And my mom always encouraged, like she was not against it. She was not sure in the beginning,
Yeah.
but like whenever I needed some money to buy a new instrument, or let's say buy some strings for the guitars, my mom was always very supportive. And yeah, once I did my bachelor's degree, I decided not to continue, you know, doing my master's degree and stuff. I wanted to pursue my music career. So my mom was very supportive. So I must say I was very lucky in that sense.
And then, do you think she faced any criticism when, like, your uncles and all asked about what you were doing and where you were going? You think, or you're not really quite sure about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not so aware of that though. Yeah.
I mean, like you were saying, right? Your mom bought you stuff, and when you needed new instruments or something, she was always there to support you in any way possible.
Mhm.
But as you got older, I remember you mentioned to me, like, after a certain while, you eventually split off and you make your own money, right?
Yep.
And as a percussionist or as a musician in general, it's hard to have a stable source of income, like we were talking about.
Mhm.
So, did you ever face any financial like obstacles on your path to where you are today?
Look, I mean, being a freelancer, being a musician, it's never guaranteed that okay. It's not like a 9 to 5 job. So you don't have a fixed secured salary.
Yeah.
So at this point of my career, sometimes I make a lot of money, and sometimes I don't make any. Okay. So during the pandemic, I with music I had like very little or zero income, right? But what I want to get into is um, I started making my own money since I was about 16 years old. So as soon as I finished my high school, I was already playing with bands and doing gigs, little gigs, making 1,000 rupees here, a few thousand rupees there. So I think it's very important to follow your passion. That is one thing. Uh, Work hard and enjoy the passion at the same time, so that it lasts for a long time. Because if you lose the love for a passion, then I don't think it's going to last too long, right? And the other thing is attitude towards the passion. Because when I started, I kind of didn't worry about how much I was going to make. I just love playing music. So whenever somebody invited to me to, come and play or jam, I just went and had a jam, and then things just started happening, you know. So I also believe it's the right attitude I had towards music, and the whole music society, and it just helped me get from one place to another, and I think I was also lucky to be associated with the right people in the right time. That is also very important.
I like hearing you, like you saying this. I'm just thinking, like, you probably, like, how do you not go chase music for the wrong things? Because I feel like that's what ruins a passion or a dream or a hobby or whatever. It's like when you start doing it for the wrong things, right?
Hmm.
So how did you stay focused on I just love music and you didn't let the fame or all this other stuff get to you? Then you start doing music for the wrong things. Like how did you sustain your passion up to now?
I think from a very young age, I I'm a very like I'm kind of a little bit of a free soul kind of a thing. So money was important because everybody needs money to pay bills and get on with their life. But for me, it was not the most important thing. And even now, you know, yes, money is important, but it's not. I know and I strongly believe that it's not the most important thing. So I think I had it pretty clear from the beginning that, okay, I'm doing this because I love doing this, not because, okay, I'm getting paid this much or that much. And then after you get to a certain point in your career, then you understand the business side of it, then you make certain choices. Okay, what is good for your career? Okay, if I put in this much hours in this project, I'm getting paid this much, whether it's the right choice or not. But in the beginning, when I was establishing myself as a musician, as an artist, I didn't care. I just went for everything that was there. And I think that was the key. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's like I don't know about you, but I believe that if you love something, like if you truly love something
Mm-hmm.
and you keep going at it 100% like you did with music, the money and the other stuff will come eventually.
Exactly.
Were you a firm believer of that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Money will follow. And, I've also seen, and I've, in my life, I've seen a lot of people who are only after money. They will never have enough money, you know? So that's been my personal, what do you call it, observation.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like when you chase money, you're never really satisfied because money is an infinite thing. Whereas when you chase something like a passion or a dream,
Yeah.
it's much easier to satisfy yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would you say you're satisfied with where you are now?
Yeah, totally, totally. But
like
I was talking to my wife Susan just before, just earlier today. When we were young and when we were just going out, we didn't have a lot of money. So sometimes we used to only have like 500 rupees in our pocket. But we were still happy. We're equally happy. So we kind of realized that, okay, having this much money or that much money is not going to change how happy you are or not. you know so yeah, that's what I firmly believed in, and still that's I still believe in that.
I mean, going a bit back to your music career, right? I'm sure that like it wasn't a straight line. Like it wasn't like it just went straight up, and it was like a steady growth all the time. There were probably dips and falls and learning points as well, right? But how do you deal with like rejection or criticism? Like, have you ever been like rejected to the point where you like, you really remember that,
Hmm.
Cause I'm sure there are people, like I've heard multiple stories of people being like, you can't do it, you can't make it, right? Did you ever how do you deal with criticism basically?
It depends. I mean, if it's a constructive criticism,
That's different.
yeah, I take it positively, and See, the thing is, what I believe is you got to be honest to yourself. You know, you might be able to give the world a different story, but you can't lie to yourself, right? So, if it's a constructive criticism, you should be strong enough to accept it and say, okay, oh yes, this is where I'm going wrong, and accept that, and take it as a learning lesson and make yourself work on getting, to somewhere better, make yourself better, you know. But if it's you can get it, with the vibes also, like, but if it's just a very, you know, light criticism, then I don't even let it come my way. I don't really care about it. You know what I mean? So I think, I personally think the most important thing is, no matter in any situation, you have to be honest to yourself. And there's a very, very nice slogan in Sanskrit, two-liner, basically, and I'm a very firm believer of that. Basically, it says, "Sukhai swarya pae, nagamku gachakka, vipat parna aye nahu thakka thakka," भन्छ क्या होइन. So what that literally means is, when things are going great, for you, don't be like gachakka, don't be proud, and don't go over your head. And when things are bad, and when things are tough, don't panic. So, just level-headed. That's my approach to life always, because life is like that. It can be up, it can be, sometimes you're really feeling really high and up, sometimes you're feeling low. But it's very important to be honest to yourself, stay strong, level-headed. Okay, this will pass, and I think everything will eventually fall into place.
You said, you seem to be a very firm believer in like being honest with yourself, right? So I was thinking about this the other day, right? Just like, do you think it's easier to satisfy yourself or satisfy others? Because I was thinking about it, right? It's like you can't control what other people think of you. But at the same time, lying to yourself is, believe it or not, actually pretty easy, right? So which one do you think is harder, like lying to yourself or like lying to others? Or do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, definitely. See, both the things, like lying to others or lying to yourself, it's it's both very, like, temporary. If you lie to others, eventually the truth is going to come out. And one thing you got to understand is, you can't please everyone in this world, right? So you got to know first. I think it's also very important to understand yourself, who you are, what do you want in life, what do you like, what you don't like, all these simple things. And again, lying to yourself also, you can lie to yourself to a certain extent, but at one point,
You feel it.
yeah, you know what is right, what is not. So, yeah.
So,
Does that make sense?
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I'm going to get a lot of people's opinion on this, but
Yeah.
I think they both go hand in hand, right? They both are very similar.
Yeah.
But moving on, right? You previously were talking about having, like, not spending enough time with your dad, or like you. I can assume that you were raised by a single mother, right?
Yep.
So what was that like? Like, could you walk us through it?
Yeah. Look, yeah, I think I could say, like, as a growing young boy in Kathmandu, I was pretty lonely, because, one, I'm the only son. No siblings. Yeah. So my dad was not around. So my mom had to go to work. So she used to leave the house in the morning, come back in the evening. So I went to school. I remember there were times I felt very lonely. But again, I think there are advantages to that too. Um, I think that also kind of, like, led me or helped me become who I am today. You know
Yeah.
that you know that solitude. All that hardship when I was young, as a young boy. Actually taught me that you got to work hard. And yes, I didn't have a very like great fun childhood, but I think that also helped me make a lot of friends. So I have a lot of friends.
You said that you went through a lot of hardships when you were younger. What were some of the hardships that you went through that really changed your view on life and you were like,
Yeah, but one thing I really like clearly remember is I used to get really embarrassed in school because all my friends, during Parents' Day and parents teacher meetings and stuff, their dad and mom used to come, but sometimes my mom couldn't come because she couldn't leave her work, and sometimes it was just my poor mom. I never had my dad coming, and so I used to feel like, oh, what must all these teachers are like. His dad is never there. As a young boy.
I feel like
Yeah.
as you get older, you tend to care less about what people think, but at a young
Exactly.
age, you
Yeah.
can't help it,
You're very
right?
conscious, no?
You're very conscious of what
Yeah.
other people think of you.
Yeah, yeah, and always, I don't come from a very rich family or well-off family, so money was always very limited, and so I didn't have the nicest clothes in the classroom and stuff. So I was always conscious, what what my friends are thinking of me, and I used to get embarrassed. Oh, my dad is not there. I was like, what must my teachers think of me? And so I think more than physical hardship, I think
Mental.
it was yeah, in the mind. Yeah,
And I think mental stuff is much harder to go through, right?
exactly. Yeah,
I feel like physical, it's like, yeah, you patch it up, you go over. In mental health, you don't even know, like, what the root of the problem is,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, looking back, you said that you seem to care a lot about what people think. Do you think that was a stupid judgment, or you still think like you had a right to care about what other people think? Like, did you get glares and looks, and
Yeah, I mean, like
were
you,
they all in your head?
mm, like you said, as a young kid, right? It just you can't control it, and you're just growing up, and everything is new, no? Like you also must experience. You're like only 15 now,
Yeah.
right? So you're growing up. You're experiencing. You're learning. And I'm sure there are things that you might not feel so comfortable about, and then again the next day you just think, oh, it's okay. So same thing with me. So I had my good days and my bad days. And what?
We all do.
Yeah, and I'm here.
Exactly. Made it out alright.
Exactly.
I mean, because only your mom was mainly there when you grew up, right?
Uh-huh.
How did you fill in that gap of not having like a traditional male role model to, like, what was that like?
I'm not so sure, but I went to an all-boys school.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Sanjays.
Okay.
So all I was only surrounded by males over there.
All
so
testosterone.
Yeah, exactly. The teachers, friends, everywhere. So I think that
Well,
balanced it out.
Even the teachers were male.
Yeah, we had very few female teachers, but mainly priests
Yeah.
and yeah, teachers. Yeah, male teachers.
Was there a male teacher in your school that like you specifically went to for male advice? Because as much as your mom was supportive and stuff, especially during adolescent years and stuff, I'm sure there were like times where you needed a male higher, you know what I'm talking about, like a male role
Yeah.
model to talk to. Like, who was that person for you?
Okay, for me, we used to have a teacher called Josh Niraula, Mr. Josh Niraula. He's still around. So he was very kind to me, and he recognized that I was good in music. So when I was in my 7th grade, I think I was 11 or 12 years old. on my birthday, he gave me a guitar. So that was my
Wow.
first guitar.
Like your own guitar.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was so happy.
And that's from a teacher,
From a
right?
teacher, yeah.
And that, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't even ask, but
Yeah.
he was so, and then so yeah, he was definitely he played a big part in encouraging me to do music, and he was like my mentor, and yeah, so Josh Niola, and if you're listening to this, thank you again.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, usually teacher and student relationships aren't like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty incredible.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, w- do you think that was mainly to do with the fact that you went to a boarding school? Because I'm aware that like boarding school relationships are much more different. Than,
I didn't go to, just to correct you, I didn't go to a boarding school.
oh,
It was still a day school,
okay.
but it was all boys' school. It was
Yeah,
it was a Jesuit school, St. James.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now, I mean, I bet your mother played like a big role in your life to
Mhm.
get you where you are today, right?
Mhm.
But as you got older, because you said that you stopped like relying on your mom when you were like 16, 18, after you started getting gigs and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did your relationship with your mom change over time?
Ah, I mean, see, the thing is, when I was a young boy, let's say like until I was like 10 or 11 years old, I was very close to my mom, like any child, So
Yeah,
you need your mother,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
For everything, to feed you, to clean your clothes, send you to school, this basic stuff, give you food. Anyway, but after that, I think I started getting a little bit more independent from a very young age because I had to. So I used to go play football. I was very much into handball and table tennis and football. I used to do a lot of after school activities, and then I slowly started getting into music, and then after I finished high school, so basically I was very busy on my own. I was playing music, and then sometimes I used to come home really late and then get a big scolding from my mom.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So basically there was a phase where we hardly saw each other, right? And then but I've always lived with my mom. I still live with my mom. So my mom still lives with me.
Okay.
Okay? So now I have a full-on family of my own,
Yeah.
but we still live together. And now it's a very good question you asked, I think, because it's a evolving, it's a ever-changing relationship. Okay, so when I was really young, she was very important. I needed her for
Your
everything.
life was around her.
Yeah, exactly. And then as I was growing up, I didn't care so much about her. Like, she was also young, but now again it's changing. Our relationship. She's getting older. She needs me a lot more now. So it's different now. So and also as you get older, as a child, as a son, you realize that, oh, okay, my mom needs me. And then at one point I was just so busy with my own life, I didn't even think of her. But now it's changing.
I mean, hearing you talk about this, like when you were so occupied with yourself and your whole music and making it, right? It was probably you saw the graph and you knew it was going somewhere, so you were just focused on that problem.
Yeah.
I'm assuming,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just
But-
getting my life together.
But when you went back to your mom after pretty much making it, right? Did you realize the importance of your mom in your life? Did you find a new value for her, or
I've always, that's always been in my head. If my mom was not there, I don't even know who I would be as a person. So that has been pretty stable in my head, that okay, I'm very ever so grateful to my mom, and because she plays a big, very important role in who I am and what I've done in my life. And, the little things like she said are still here, which are like really important lessons. Like she used to say these little things like, oh, बानीले पो रानी हुन पाइन्छ. And I never forget that, which is true. And she used to say things like, सिधा बाटो हेर्नु काँडाले पनि कोर्दैन. These
Yeah.
little things, but which are valuable. And I think these are the things like that get stuck in your head, and if you don't forget that, you head in the right direction. So she's taught me great lessons in life.
Your mom seems like a great person because she didn't walk you to your goal and served it to you on a gold platter. She just pushed you in the right direction,
Yeah.
and she was like, just remember these things and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and taught me the right and the good lessons and the values of life. Yeah.
I mean, your mom sounds like a great person.
She can be annoying too sometimes.
Yeah, I've met her, but I've never really I've sensed that your relationship with her is much more different. You guys seem more like cousins or sisters. You guys seem much more closer than.
Oh yeah.
And I never really understood why until today, and that's just incredible, right?
Yeah.
But now you have a family of your own, like you said. You have a wife, your daughter, Chaya, right?
Yeah.
How did you learn about being a father without having one? Like how did you learn?
Well, I can't say if I learned anything. I'm still trying to figure out to be the best parent, the best father.
Yeah.
But one thing for sure was, since the time we decided to have a child, I told myself, I promised myself, I'm not gonna let my daughter go through what I went through. So you get my point, right?
Yeah.
So I made a promise to myself, okay, no matter what the situation is, I'm not gonna let my daughter feel that she doesn't have a father, or she's missing out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
So
you-
yeah.
You wanted to promise to yourself that like your child would have a role model
Exactly.
that you didn't have. You
Yeah.
wanna.
Yeah.
Do you think that you giving that to Chaya has helped fill your own void of like not having that person as you grew up? Because knowing that you could do that, does that somewhat compensate for that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're still, relationships like we were talking about earlier. Like my mother's and my relationship is also ever changing, and it's the same with Chaya and me. But yeah, I think we have a lot of fun, and I think I annoy her a lot, and she annoys me every now and then. But we have a great relationship, and yes.
I mean, that sounds wonderful. I feel like your relationship with her is almost like your relationship with your mother, It's
Yeah.
almost like friends or
Yeah.
siblings,
Yeah,
right?
we're very close to each other. Yeah.
I mean, going on the root of your family, right? Your wife Susan auntie had a major accident that was pretty life changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
What had exactly happened? I knew it was some sort of surgery that didn't go as planned. So
Yeah. So in two thousand and
if you don't mind.
no, totally. So in 2018, March 2018, she got diagnosed with a brain tumor. So basically, she had a tumor, basically a size of a golf ball behind her ears. So they had to remove it. So she went to Australia, and then she had her first operation in May, but they couldn't remove the full tumor, full thing, because it was so big and tough, and it was tangled around all her nerves and stuff. So she had to go in again after like 1.5 months of the first one. So in the second surgery, yeah, they managed to take out most of the tumor, but some of the nerves got damaged. So her recovery time, she's actually still recovering after 4 years of the surgery, you know. So there was a long period of time where we were in and out of hospitals and therapies and stuff, you know. So basically, to cut the long story short, 2018 was kind of like all of our lives were like just paused because of that, you know, because back and forth, Australia, hospital, surgery, therapy, this, that, you know. But I think Susan is also such a strong person. Like
She's amazing.
she never complained, you know,
She's
because if she had complained, the family members like us would have had a
struggled.
much tougher time. Because she's so strong, it was a lot easier for her to support her and take care of her. So now she's back. You know, our life, we're back on track again. You know, so yeah, that was a rough period of time, but we're fine. And Chaya, my daughter, also she was for a child, I think she was amazing. She was fantastic. She was such a good support to me, and yeah.
I mean, that sounds pretty tough to even like. I don't even know how you would deal with something like that, right? Like someone
Mhm.
you love and want to spend the rest of your life with. You know, it's almost pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how did it feel when you first found out about it?
Oh, really scared, Manav. Yeah, we were all very scared. We didn't know what the outcome was going to be, you
Were
know.
you in Australia?
Susan was in Australia. We were here. Chaya and
Oh my
myself were here.
gosh.
And then Susan told me over the phone. We were shocked. We had never even thought, you know, like she could have a brain tumor, you know. It was very scary. I remember Chaya even like cried when she found her and said, "Oh, his mommy," because she was little.
Yeah.
Then this was like 5, 6 years ago, right?
And like we talked about the importance of having a mother,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
that probably
Yeah,
scared her
yeah.
a
She was
lot.
really scared, and she's like, "Oh, Daddy, is mommy gonna die?" I said, "No, no, no, she's not gonna die." You know, but yeah, it was very scary, Manav, and we're through it.
Yeah.
Thank
And,
God.
and that's amazing. Getting through something like that is
Yeah,
quite an achievement.
yeah.
But through the process of getting through that, how did you care for your spouse,
Hmm.
like for Sudan auntie, while still leaving time for yourself?
We played a lot of cards in the hospital. Marriage.
Marriage खेल्न आउँछ तपाईँलाई?
आउँछ नि
कस्तो त्यो
सुजनलाई पनि सिकाएँ मैले
तासैसम्म त गाह्रो हुन्छ मलाई त.
No, yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah.
I know. So nah, I mean, yes, but no, but you know, when someone you love or someone close to you is in a helpless situation, you don't think about yourself. You know, so at that point of time, you don't think about yourself. You realize what is the most important thing. So for me, the only thing I was doing that time was looking after Susan and looking after Chai. I didn't play any concerts like the whole year. I didn't work at all. You know, my main focus was just
So
making sure Susan was, you know. So I was not the priority.
your whole career, you put it on pause just to
Yeah,
care. And then not a lot of people can do that. A lot of people are selfish, and
yeah,
it's amazing that you found the courage in yourself to
yeah.
care for someone you love more than yourself. That really shows how much you really love Susan auntie, you know,
Yeah.
because, or not just Susan auntie, like your family in general, because I think even Chaya really needed your support at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. It's really inspiring what you guys have gone through as a family, and I'm just speechless.
Thanks, man.
It's
Thanks.
so awesome. So, I mean, I think we're coming towards the end,
Mm-hmm.
right? You do have a fancy dinner to go to,
Yes.
like you always do on Friday. But just some wrap up questions, right? So you can answer these any way you want. But do you have any advice for up and coming artists in Nepal?
Ah, yeah, like definitely, like we talked about earlier, I always say if you're passionate about music, don't worry about the money in the beginning, you know? Just play. Get yourself make yourself a better musician on stage, off stage, you know, and it's like learning a new language, right? So basically if you have a very strong vocabulary, then your language skills are better. Same thing with music. If you know more, if you're knowledgeable, then you can do a lot. So just work hard, work hard, work hard. Money, fame will follow.
So our my second question is how did this Susan Auntie situation? It must have been really tough. So how did it affect your outlook on life?
Ah, you know, when when you're in a bad situation, first thing you just have to like get out of it, right? Like you just focus on that. But once you're out of it and when you reflect back, you know, when things are back to normal, then again we talked about it like when things are going tough, don't panic. Stay calm. You know, see sometimes my line of profession can be very stressful. You know, when we're playing big concerts and things are not going as you want and stuff. So I always remind myself to stay calm, you know, and my approach on life has also been, you know, like I don't want to stress or worry about things that is not under my that like you know that I can't do anything about. So same thing with Susan's situation also. Like I did, I always did my best and what I could, but the rest, like if something's not under your control, then there's no point worrying about it or stressing. You're just gonna, you know, make the situation worse, and you might even stress everybody around you. So that belief got even more stronger. You know, it is like a really good practice.
So you basically always had a belief that you should never stress or worry about things that weren't in your control, and this situation just seemed to emphasize that
Yeah,
point for you.
yeah, yeah,
You were like, I was right, and this just proves
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
my way works almost,
Exactly,
right?
and yeah, and taught me to, no matter what, stay strong, stay calm. Things will change.
So this podcast is obviously about the bottom up moments, and we've talked a lot about your bottom up moments.
Mm-hmm.
So could you do you have any final message for our viewers here today?
No, I mean, first, thank you for having me, Manav.
No
It's
worries.
it's a pleasure and an honor to be here, and also, you know, just keep going in life. One of my mantras is don't take life too seriously. Also, you know, there's so many billions of people around, and everybody has their different situations, good situations, bad situations. Try to enjoy your life, you know, and make the best out of it. Don't take it too seriously. Be honest to yourself.
But like I was saying, thank you so much for coming on. I've learned a lot about you as a person. I've always found you as an inspiration, the cool Sanjay uncle rock star, the DJ, right? But I feel like today I've learned so much about who you truly are as a person, right? Like I feel like anyone can be cool on the outside, but nobody has the bravery. Not everybody. I'm not saying nobody, but not everybody has the bravery like you to follow your passion, do what you want, as well as caring for the people you love, and that's just incredible. Thank you so much for coming on episode 4 of Bottom Up, and thank you for listening.
And thanks to you too, Manav. I wish you all the best for for this podcast and everything. I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing this at such a young age. You're very inspiring to me also. Keep on going. All the best with everything.